Hi everyone, it's Tori. Today I'm going to tell you how to make just a little simple beanie style plush like this. To start off this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you about what supplies you're going to need. You're going to need a plush fabric. For this, you can either use something like fleece. I'm going to see if I can get it real close to the camera so you can see the texture. Or minky. Minky is a significantly softer fabric than fleece. It's more plush-like. If you have any of the more recent Pokemon Center, or Poke Plush, or Poke Dolls, they're made with a minky type of fabric. Fleece isn't as soft, but it's much cheaper than minky and easier to find. As far as I know, Joann's does sell minky now in the majority of their stores. The two around here I know do. But if you are just starting off, I do recommend. You're going to need a width of about 8 inches for this. You're obviously going to need thread, scissors, if you have a sewing machine, but if you don't, you certainly don't need. For stuffing, you can either stuff them if you want them to be more plush-like and less beanie-like, with just normal fiber-filled stuffing. Just like this. I think, don't quote me on this because I usually buy the giant 5 to 10 pound boxes of fiber fill, but I think just a normal package is somewhere between $5 and $7. If you want them to be like beanies, you'll have to buy poly pellets. Depending on the brand, these are between $5 and $9. If you're going to buy them from Joann's or Michael's, make sure you look in the paper. There are usually coupons for both. And they do accept competitors' coupons. Michael's will accept Joann coupons, and Joann's will accept Michael's. Now, I can't actually show you an example while making this video because my workspace is very small. I sew on a tray table, and this video is currently being taken on that tray table. So I don't actually have enough room in my workspace to film me actually sewing this. Although I don't think you actually need to see it. Starting with the head, you're going to need 2 of each of these pieces. So 2 of the front of the head and 2 of the back. And then you're going to sew the 2 fronts of the heads together on the side that has the nose. You're going to start from the top and you're just going to go along that side. Don't sew them together here. And then you're going to do the back of the head. For the back of the head, if it doesn't cut out perfectly, I recommend using the part that is more curved for the back of the head. So taking your 2 back of the head pieces, you're going to sew them together starting at the top. You're going to stop in the center of the head and leave a space, and then sew to the bottom again. This space that you leave is for stuffing. Do not sew the 2 back of the heads together on the other side. So now you're going to have 2 pieces. One is the 2 fronts of the head sewn together, and one is the 2 backs of the head sewn together. And you're going to pin the fronts of the heads to the backs of the heads where you didn't sew them before. So from the front of the head, you're going to sew them together on the side that isn't sewn. Same goes for the back of the head. It should just be a round nose facing forward on one side and the back of the head facing the back. And you're just going to sew around that circle. Do not leave an opening. You already left an opening for stuffing when you left that one in the back of the head. Once you're done sewing all the way around, you can open it up and stuff it, and it will look like this. I mean, more or less without all the nonsense on it. And then moving on to the body is really simple too. This, where you can't read my handwriting, it's really bad, where it says H is the top of the body and where it says B is the back of the body. So you're going to need one that's just the whole piece. And then you're going to fold it in half and cut out 2 halves. The 2 half pieces will become the top of the body, and the 1 whole piece will become the bottom. This is especially important if you're actually stuffing it and not using beads, because the body will end up 2-dimensional if you don't do this if you're stuffing it. I'm not sure how easy you can see the seam here, but there is a seam in the back right here on this little guy. So you're going to take the 2 top pieces and you're just going to sew them right along here. And when you open them up, once they're sewn together, they should look very similar to the body pattern that you have that's just cut out and whole. Once you're done with that, So you're going to line up your two pieces. Yeah, this one's a little bit. Pretend these actually line up. So you're going to line up your two pieces. Just like this. And if you want to leave the head open, you're just going to start right here. And so all the way along this part of the body until you get about right here. And you're going to stop. And then you can flip your body pieces open and they'll be ready to go. So once you stuff those, you're going to have to hand stitch the parts that you left open. You're going to want to use an invisible stitch. I will link in the description. An image that shows you how to do that. But this is so you can't see the opening where you stuffed it. So when your body is all done, it's just going to look just like this. So it's basically it for the basic pattern. For ears and tails, it's going to vary depending on what you're making. But, for example, Vaporeon's tail here is just two pattern pieces that look like this, sewn together. And that's basically just a standard way you're going to do any tail. I don't have any paper here to draw one out, but you're just going to take two shapes that look exactly the same, just like the tail of how you want it to look, and you're just going to sew them together. Make sure you leave maybe a ½ an inch for seam allowance, or make sure you leave a little bit of area for seam allowance because it will be smaller than the actual picture that you draw. Ears are done the same way. For these guys, I just drew out this shape and cut two of them. The inside shape right here, I just cut out a shape and hand sewed it on. If you're doing something that has paws, all you have to do is make sure you add a little bit of a seam allowance, but all you have to do is cut off these parts of the pattern and cut out the main body part, whatever color the body is, for example, white on Sylvian. And then you're going to take these little pieces you cut off and cut them out in the color that the paws are. Pink on Sylvian. And so attaching the head and body after you've hand sewed them shut and made all your ears is all I do is I hand stitch the head on. I do the same with the ears and the tail. These are all hand stitched on. Move this down. The ears are just hand stitched on too, as is the tail, but that's a little more difficult to show. These are obviously not very large plush. You can definitely take the pattern and make it bigger if that's what you want. They're about, the main body pattern is a little bit over, not much, about 6 inches. So they turn out a little bit smaller than that. Here's just Sylvian in my hand as an example. These guys both have beads in them. As you can tell, there's not a lot. You don't want to put a ton in here or else they're going to be really, really heavy. The beads are surprisingly heavy once they're in it. But if you have, that's about it. At that point, you'll have your finished beanie. If you need any help with patterning out accessories, and by accessories I mean like ears, tails, bows, spines, don't be afraid to comment below and I can give you tips on how to do those. If you need help with anything or if I wasn't clear about anything, do let me know and I will definitely walk you through it as best I can. So I hope this was helpful to you and I hope you can make your own beanies with it. Again, if you have any questions or you run into any problems, please don't be afraid to let me know and I will help you through them. If you have any other tutorials you want to see, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. Thank you. Have a good day.